Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be looking at some poll analysis here. The post-debate polls finally came out. We're going to get a good look into these polls, see exactly how they are going to seem to be after the first debate. How did the first debates affect the polls? And we're going to take a look into this really clearly and see who gained the most, who lost the most, and really just what the deal is. So you can see here that after Biden announced in May, he had a 27, almost a 30-point lead in the polls. That lead is just down to 13, under 13. Biden was at 41.4. Now Biden sits at less than 30. Biden is in the 20s right now. He's not even polling at 30%. He's polling in the 20s. Big red flag for Biden. This is not the time for his campaign to be looking at these numbers and being, oh, he's still got this. No, he's dropped so far, and he was dropping far before the debate, and he's continued the drop after. I wonder if that's going to go in the mid-20s. And then after the second debate, if he continues his blunders, we're going to have to look at see what's going to happen after that. Will he continue to fall? Or could he gain back ground? Where did the votes go? Well, as you can see here, Sanders was relatively unchanged from the debate. You could make a case, hey, maybe it went up a couple points. Maybe a couple people were reminded of him, but he didn't really make a very good impression. Most of the Bernie supporters out there that I've seen haven't been talking about how Sanders has been did well in the debate. No, he was just kind of old, kind of like nails on a chalkboard to many people. Now, Warren gained. Warren's been gaining. I don't think she'd stop. She was placed in that debate among a bunch of nobodies where she could be able to go out there and sort of command the table, which she really did. Now, Beta O'Cuck is down there at 3%. He fell. Guys, Beta fell, which is very surprising. Cory Booker roughly stagnant. Yang didn't fall despite not having any airtime either. Now, the deal here, as well as we have the fact that we look at this map, and the number one key thing you'll notice is Kamala Harris rose significantly. And we're going to look down here at the individual polls. CNN is the poll to look for. CNN is a garbage news organization that frames elections. They are the establishmentarian of the establishmentarian. Nobody really watches them anymore. They put them on at the airport, at the gym. There's really nothing else. There's no other place that will ever air CNN. Nobody watches it anymore for a good reason. Now, Biden fell. I always thought it's very confusing. I thought Biden was these people's choice. I thought Biden did the best in the establishmentarian CNN crowd. They propped up Hillary in 2016. I thought they would prop up Biden, but no. Look, Biden was winning this poll 32-18 over Sanders. Now, after the debate, Biden is leading just by 5 points. And who's he beating? He's beating Harris. He's not beating any of the, Sanders or Warren, or even you could have made a case that Buttigieg was in fourth place. But no, actually, which is surprising, many people seem to actually say he had a decent debate performance. Buttigieg actually fell. He's been falling for a while now, very gradually, 7.8. He continued his fall. He's down to 6. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I never thought he was a really reliably good candidate. I think he could be a running mate for Harris. He'll stick around. I don't think Harris would go with Beta. That would be a terrible decision for that to happen. For just on her in her mind. If she picks Robert to be her VP, I mean that would be a disaster. You have people that especially for immigration and borders talk about Trump's positions not being the most favorable to people. Well, it almost seems like her position on immigration would be even more disastrous to the country, comparing the ICE agents to the KKK, and Beta saying, "Oh, tear down the wall. We don't want any borders." I honestly don't see a difference between him and Marianne Williamson. They're basically the same candidate. Beta's just a little bit more well-spoken, and his Spanish is probably worse, to be honest. I mean, we didn't hear Marianne Williamson speak Spanish. We heard her speak some crazy talk language, but it wasn't Spanish. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot of takeaways except Biden fell in every poll. The other two polls that were released, the Harris poll, this one's also pretty reliable from past experience with just analyzing it. Biden fell only 2 points. You know, CNN is known for suppression polls. It's possible they might be trying to frame this race in terms of support of Biden. Oh, whoops, don't want to do that. Okay, there we go. Just try to look at how the candidates were before. It seems like Bernie fell by 4 points in this poll. Bernie gained 2 points. Again, I don't agree with that though. I don't think he would. I think CNN might be accurate in terms of the Sanders falling, but I can't believe that Harris gained so much and Biden fell so much from that debate exchange, especially among black voters. And when it comes to things like busing, a lot of black people didn't support government mandated busing. It was kind of a sort of harmful, thing. They wanted integration. They didn't necessarily want forced busing. So I'm not exactly sure why Harris would be the catalyst behind the black vote shifting. And we can look at this article right here and take note that I believe it said something right here was down further. So it does appear that Biden still has the lead among black voters. I think a lot of black voters who may be supporting Harris were introduced to Harris for some reasons. It's interesting to look at that fact as well. You have a white candidate beating a Jamaican candidate because, oh God, how dare I mention the fact that Harris is not a black American. CNN's going to get on my ass, even though the fact that she's not a black American. She is a half Indian, half Jamaican woman. That's really irrelevant to whatever anything is. It's not birtherism to tell the truth about her race. Like CNN is framing it to be. These people are sick. They're trying to frame our elections. They tried it last time and it failed, and I hope to God it fails again. But besides that, it does seem like that the CNN poll could be a suppression poll. It might be accurate. I don't know. But Politico Morning Consult, I criticize the Morning Consult map a lot. That is true. But I do think the primary polls are probably a little bit more spot on because they've been relatively on aggregate here. And these are nationwide polls. The nationwide polls are more accurate than the state-by-state polls as well, especially for Morning Consult. It does seem like Biden is beating Sanders, again, by a much narrower margin. In all of his support, he lost 5 points. It probably all went to Harris. It does seem like Warren lost a point. That's plausible. Probably within the margin of error, they're about the same. Yang stayed stagnant. Booker stagnant. O'Cuck lost 2 points, which is what you would expect. Other than that, there wasn't really any gaining or moving from that. But that just seems to be the factor. Now, Biden is falling. He's still the front runner. It's not over yet for Biden. He's falling, though. That is a problem. If this drop continues, and if he is really taking another steep drop, because if you look at this, he had a couple drops and then he kind of flatlined. If Biden falls into the mid to low 20s, he's in trouble. I've said it before and I say it again, Biden will be the Jeb Bush of this election. And I'm not necessarily sure that Harris will be the nominee. The establishment is circulating around her. I don't know. It's very possible Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders could just team up together and form a ticket, and they'd probably win. Their vote share would probably combine. They'd probably get around 30% of the vote. But if in a contested convention, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Because if you have multiple establishmentarian people at a contested convention, they might not be able to make up the votes that Sanders and Warren had together. If they had a ticket at 30, the superdelegates could just cancel out with the people in the 20s, and that would hand to victory. But also, again, Biden's falling. Is he falling for a reason? Is Hillary Clinton planning to jump in this race? It's very possible. Don't take it like a crazy little theory that I have, because it's very plausible. Now, I think Kamala basically being Jamaican Hillary, or God forbid I say black Hillary. I don't even know if you would say that. I guess she's black, but again, not African American. I can't stress that enough. And if I do stress it again, CNN will get on my ass because that's what they've been talking about all day. How dare someone tell the truth about someone's race? This is not birtherism. Birtherism was a conspiracy theory. This is telling the truth about somebody. CNN flipped out on all these other people, these black conservative pundits that were pointing it out and trying to make it seem like it's some race thing. It's no, it's not a race thing. Nobody cares. Has nothing to do with her race. Nobody cares about that. It has to do with the fact that she's talking about experiences that, well, she might not have had, because if you look at the data, look into her past, she wasn't really bussed. Again, she's having a moment of her, I was listening to Tupac in 1980s, which never happened. Tupac didn't come out till the early 90s. It's the same thing. She wasn't in school age until the early 70s. This had nothing to do with the 60s busing programs that Joe Biden had to deal with. It really didn't. But that's apparently the poll analysis of today. You see Biden falling, Bernie relatively stagnating. He was up in the mid-20s. It looked like at one point he was going to overtake Biden. He's fallen. He's really just stagnated. Warren and Harris are rising. It's possible that Warren does continue to rise as well as Harris. And it's possible that Bernie actually ends up falling. And Biden, apparently, I've said it before, Jeb Bush again. Just because someone is the frontrunner months and years out of a presidential election does not translate to them being the frontrunner, because it's not the case. They usually rarely are. Look at the fact of Jeb Bush in 2016. Look at the fact of people like Rick Perry, Herman Cain in 2012. Look at, I don't know exactly who in 2008. A lot of people said Rudy Giuliani could have been the Republican nominee that year. I don't even think he made it to Iowa. But that's just apparently what you have here. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll do another video tomorrow for sure. I'll get to that list of requests that I put out there that you guys voted on. But apparently that's it. Please like this video, comment. I want to know what you think of the comments, and please subscribe. Get me to 6,000. We hit 5,500. We keep hitting these milestones. Let's keep going. Let's get all the way to 6,000. I'll do something at 6,000 subscribers. Follow me on social media and donate to my Patreon, links in description as well. And thanks again for watching, guys. Red Eagle, out.